NBA playoffs are amongst us. We have to do a little NBA playoff preview. You're the NBA guy, man. Take the reins, my friend, and just sprinkle our brains, fertilize our brains, as Michael Irvin would say, with some knowledge.
I'm going to say...
Don't talk about playoffs.
Oh.
Playoffs?
We are talking about playoffs, though. Come on.
It's time, Mitch. It's time. Playoffs. NBA playoffs. I love the playoffs of any sport. I love the NBA because it always feels like you get to the right conclusion at the end. When you have to play 7-game series back to back to back, there's no fluking your way to a championship. There's no, lucking your way into it. Like, you got to prove yourself, and you got to go through the gauntlet and win 16 games to win an NBA title. And I love the slog, and I love the journey. And it's getting underway. Play-in tournament games started last night. The 7 seeds were locked in. In fact, we've got game going on right now as we're recording this and live on YouTube and Twitter. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube and Twitter, hello, leave us a comment. Who do you think is going to win the NBA Finals this year? Let us know. But we've got Bulls in Toronto, Bulls and Raptors right now with like 20 seconds left coming down to the wire for a chance to potentially get the 8 seed. But we'll go through a little bit of these series and make some picks on how we think this first round will go. Maybe let's start in the Eastern Conference with we'll call it the 1-8. We don't know who the 8 seed is yet. That's still TBD. Again, Toronto and Chicago are playing right now. The winner of that game will take on the Heat for a chance to take on the number 1 seed, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks, who Mitch won an NBA best 58 games this year. It's Giannis. It's the Bucks. They are so good. It doesn't really matter who's going to come out of this 8, right? I mean, we're feeling Milwaukee in this one, but is it a sweep? Are you saying 5 games? What are you going to pick here for this first one?
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep.
Clean sweep.
I like it.
Give me Milwaukee. I mean, this is just, they're so good. They're so good. I just read an article on Barstool Sports. If you haven't read it, like Giannis contemplated retirement in 2020 when he got the big contract. And I'm so glad that he didn't, because like this just leads to a longer run with Giannis and the Bucks being an exceptional organization, exceptional team. I don't think there's any chance that Milwaukee gives them any breathing room at all in this series. I got to take the Bucks here.
Yeah, I'll go with you. I'll go sweep. Giannis with the sweep. I'll go Milwaukee in 4. Mitch, the next matchup, Atlanta beat the Miami Heat last night to earn the 7 seed, and Trae Young and the Hawks will face the defending Eastern Conference champions from last year, the number 2 seed Boston Celtics, who won 57 games this season, just 1 behind Milwaukee, with a new head coach after the Ime Udoka situation. This team bounced right back to the number 2 seed. Again, Atlanta 41-41 this year. They brought in Quinn Snyder halfway through this season to take over and able to make the playoffs, and an impressive win. This is a tough matchup for Atlanta, though. I'm going to go Boston in 5 in this one. I think Atlanta gets maybe, game 3 at home back in Atlanta. They get a win. Trae Young can go off. That team is talented, but this Boston team's legit. I'll go Boston in 5.
You know what? I think this series is closer than other people, than most people realize. Atlanta 41-41. Pardon me. 41-41, but also the most mid team of all time, probably. In fact, I think they went on a 24-game streak or something like that, where they went 12-12 and never had a 2-game winning streak. They alternated win, loss, win, loss, 24 games in a row. It was incredible. It was actually impressive how mid they actually were.
Their point differential is 0.3. That's how mid they are. They're averaging as many points scored as they allow, basically.
I think that trend continues through the first 4 games of the series.
Okay.
I think that we see, loss, win. We get to 2-2. Then Boston pulls it out. I think that we get Boston in 6, but I think that we see that same mid Atlanta team that for some reason on any given night pulls it out and does it and gets it done. But I think that comes back to bite them in
Okay.
the ass in the end when it comes to a playoff series. I'll take Boston in 6.
All right. Yeah, Boston in 6. I like it. Mitch, the 3-6 matchup. Number 3, Philadelphia 76ers, 54 wins on the season for Philly. They take on Brooklyn, 45-37. Obviously, it's a very different Brooklyn team with Mikal Bridges and no Kevin Durant and no Kyrie Irving, and a very different team. But, they were able to avoid the play-in tournament, get that 6th seed. I don't think they stand much of a chance in this series, to be honest. Joel Embiid, James Harden, this Philly team is very good. But I do think that this will be a bit of a series. So I'll say Philly in 6. These are familiar teams. Brooklyn's not going to, go down easy. So I'll say they give them 6 games and go Philly in 6.
Yeah, I'm going to go Philly in 7.
Okay.
I think this is going to be a tighter one. I think that Joel and just continues to build upon his MVP-esque season. But when you have one guy that you got to defend that's is going to tear you up night in and night out, I think you defensively plan for that. And so I think that they find some success in there, but it's just not enough to get it done. I'll take Philly in 7.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Mitch, final matchup here, the 4-5 matchup. Number 4 seed, Cleveland Cavaliers against the number 5 seed, New York Knicks. And listen, Donovan Mitchell and the Cavaliers, they make the big trade. Donovan, very impressive this year. Will be an all-NBA player for sure. And, earns the 4 seed. New York, 47 wins on the season. Pretty solid season for the Knicks, bouncing back after a disappointing year last year. This is a decent matchup, but I really like this Cleveland team. I mean, outside of Donovan really emerging and continuing to grow into that star that we saw here in Utah, Evan Mobley and all the depth on this team, Darius Garland. There's just a lot of talent on this team still. They're not quite at championship contender level. I think they can get there, but this year was clearly a step in the right direction. I say they take care of the Knicks easy in 5 games. Cleveland in 5.
I think in past seasons, we've talked about Cleveland and their youth and how they're kind of pointed in the right direction post LeBron, post Kyrie. They're pointed in the right direction. Adding a Donovan Mitchell was just like one of the cherries on top to kind of get, propel them forward into playoff contention. I think they get it done. I think they get it done in 6. This is a Knicks team I think is a little bit scrappy, and they're going to play a little bit of New York basketball, tougher defense. But Cleveland still has the superior roster, and they get this one done in 6.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go over to the West, Mitch. Unlike, the East, I think is really top heavy. Milwaukee, Boston, 57-58 wins, Philly, 54 wins, a lot of really good teams. I think the West is a lot more wide open. And maybe we'll see a difference in our picks because we were in lockstep on our picks in the East. We'll see if we differ here in the West. We'll start with the 1-8 matchup. Denver awaiting their matchup here. They were the 1 seed, 53 wins best in the West. Minnesota lost to the Lakers last night, so they await the winner of New Orleans and Oklahoma City tonight. The winner of that game will end up eventually playing Denver, but again, I think Denver is going to be fine in this. I don't love this Denver team, so I'll say Denver in 6 because depending on who they get matched up against as the 8 seed, I think one of those teams could maybe give them some trouble, but Denver will get it done. I'll say Denver in 6.
I'm going to say Denver in 7. I'm going to say Denver in 7 because I think they get matched up against Minnesota. I think Rudy Gobert comes back after the whole controversy, falling out with his teammates. He comes back and he plays really good defense on Jokic. And I think that's going to be a really big momentum changer in a lot of these games. So I'm going to go Denver in 7 over Minnesota. I'll pick the playing team. I'll go Minnesota here.
Go Minnesota. Okay. I think it's fair. He's got Jokic and Gobert have a long history, played a lot of games against each other. That's a good matchup. So I like that call. Mitch, the 2-7 matchup. The Memphis Grizzlies will be facing the Los Angeles Lakers. LA earned their win as the 7 seed last night over Minnesota. So they'll take on Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. 51 wins for Memphis. And listen, I'm going to say this off the rip, okay? The Lakers are not going to win a champion. I've seen so many people are like, watch out for LA. LA could get to the finals. LA could be sneaky. Listen, I'm a Lakers fan. I love it. I think it's hilarious. We do it all the time. It's great. I will say this, though. There is things to take credit here. Since the Russell Westbrook trade, the Lakers have the number one defense in the NBA. Since the trade deadline, they nailed the trade deadline, Mitch. Jared Butler, Malik Beasley, Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell. I mean, all the guys they've brought in is overhauled this roster, changed it in a huge way. They have the number one defense since that point. And when we saw the only successful era of LeBron in LA, the only time it's really paid off when they won that title in 2020, that was a season when the Lakers had the number one defense in the NBA. They relied on the defense and LeBron and AD to do enough on the offense to get it done. So, yes, the formula, quote unquote, is there, but this team is way behind to be at that point. This roster was only started to get good like 12 weeks ago. They're the 7 seed. They're not going to do it. Like next year, if they're like a 3-4 seed and they did it, like, and the roster stays the same, maybe we could have a conversation. But that is to be said. I wouldn't be surprised if this really is a super competitive series because I think LA could be up for the task. But I will take Memphis. All that to be said, all of those hurdles to be said as a Lakers fan, I will take Memphis in this one. But, if it gets to game 7, I mean, it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Are we really going to say, like, I'd be shocked? I don't know. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm still taking Memphis. Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
You and I just had a conversation the other day on the phone where I was talking about the Lakers. The same one that we've been hearing. The Lakers aren't going to the finals. They're not going to the finals. You mentioned the number one defense. Memphis is a young team. The maturity maybe not all the way there. The Lakers have a lot of maturity on that team. I mean, they have some young pieces, but that's a pretty mature team with a lot of playoff experience.
Yep.
I'm going to go Lakers in 7.
Oh my gosh, Mitch, you're going to do it?
I'll do it. I'll step out and say the Lakers in 7.
I'm so glad you did it and not me, because if I do it, people will just hate me because I'm a Lakers fan. But I love that you're doing it because, listen, I'm not going to be, I will not be shocked if the Lakers beat the 2 seed Memphis. I won't be. There's a formula for that to happen, right? With the defense that the Lakers are playing and how good LeBron is looking. I mean, he's let's give the guy some credit. He's 38 years old. And he continues to do it. So, I think
we're going to see a lot of close games in this series. Dennis Schroeder has stepped up and hit some big shots. Rui Hachimura has stepped up and hit a couple big shots just the other night in that playoff game. I mean, they have some big time shot getters in close games. And I think we're going to see that. And it's what it all bounds up to is Memphis, super talented, super young. Lakers, not as talented, very mature, and knows the situation that they're in. And I think that's going to be a difference maker in this one is the maturity.
And also has LeBron James. I also want to say, and your little token white guard, right? It was Alex Caruso walked so Austin Reeves could run, right? I mean, it's like, where did they find these guys? LeBron's always got to have somebody there, one of those guys.
Austin Reeves.
I love it. He's incredible
player.
Great. So I will say Memphis in 7 because I really like. I think this isn't an easy out. That's all.
It's maybe the best series we have. I mean,
it could be a good one. I hope so. I hope it's a good one. Speaking of good series, Mitch, 3-6 right here. Sacramento Kings. They break the playoff drought, light the beam. The Kings are back. They're back in the playoffs, and they will be taking on the defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors. This is such a Kings thing to happen. An incredible season. You break the drought. You're the 3 seed. It's like, oh my God, what have we done here? Look at the situation. And who do we get? It's Steph Curry and the defending champs. Like, what a horrible draw for Sacramento. That is just like brutal. Kings fans. Mitch, you give your thoughts on this series first. I've got thoughts, but you give your thoughts and your pick on this.
Kings, I mean, that's a historic offense, by the way. Historic offense. I mean, was it averaging like 128 a night, like whatever they were doing? Like it's incredible what this offense has done. The defense really historically bad, and a lot of times we see we see defenses not being able to rise to the occasion in playoff situations, and that hurts them, right? Golden State is the window's closing, and it's closing rapidly for them. Like, they had their time in the sun. They were absolutely god awful on the road. 11 wins the entire year on the road for the Golden State Warriors. I'm taking Sacramento to win in 7, and they're winning all 4 games at home.
Okay.
I mean, this team is that Golden State team is so bad on the road. It's almost painful to look at. Like, their road record matches guys that were, 15 and 14 and 15 seeds in the East and West. I mean, it's embarrassing. And I think that this is really going to come back to bite them. Their inability to play on the road. Sacramento plays very well at home. I think that the Kings can get this one done in 7 and move on to the semifinal round.
Okay. Listen, this is what I want to say to Kings fans, if you're listening. And when I say Kings fans, I mean Jordan Fox, our good friend, fellow Sports Hour guy. We love Jordan. He's the resident Kings fan. We need to have him on, by the way. Next week, in the midst of this playoffs, we need to have Jordan on to talk Kings. But to the Kings fans out there, just enjoy the ride and have zero expectations. Because what I feel like is happening, Mitch, is that this is a year that a team that peaked way earlier than they thought and kind of shot over the moon in a way that we didn't expect. And now fans maybe have an expectation of doing a lot more than they should, right? Like, a successful season for Sacramento would have been earning the play-in tournament, right? And getting the 7 seed and just making the playoffs. That would have been considered a successful season for Sacramento. And nobody would have been upset if they lost that opening series in 5 games to the Golden State Warriors, right? We would all be like, yeah, that's okay because Sacramento's back. They did it. They made the playoffs. They're growing, all this stuff. Well, now they're the 3 seed. So there's, and Golden State's the 6 seed. So now it's like, well, if they don't win, we're going to be disappointed. No, Kings fans, be grateful you got to the playoffs. This season is a success. I don't think the series is going to go well for Sacramento. I really don't. And I hope that it's competitive. I really do. But this is a team that has never been to the playoffs. 20 years the franchise hasn't been to the playoffs. None of these players have been to the playoffs as Kings. So this is all a new experience against the defending champions who, you say a window is closing, Mitch, but they won 3 championships in 4 years and then took like a 4-year break and then just won another one last year. So I don't know where the window is or whether it's open or closed or it never opens or never closed. I don't know what it is, but I just think this is going to be a tough draw for Sacramento. I'm taking Golden State in 5, but I'm saying Kings fans, just enjoy all this because this is, just remember that this is all a win. If you get swept by Golden State, this season was a huge success, and don't let whatever happens in the playoffs ruin that, because they ended up as the 3 seed and had a much better than expected season. That's all I got to say about Sacramento. Love it, though. Should be a fun matchup.
That's a fair assessment. That's a fair assessment. I sympathize with Kings fans because I'm an A's fan. I'm a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're really good and we just don't quite get there.
Yeah.
Or we're bad for extended periods of time like the A's are going into right now. So I sympathize with the Kings fans.
I am.
I want to see success for them. So that's why
we do.
I'm telling them right now, I got faith in that Kings team peaking too early or peaking, earlier than expected. Light the motherfucking beam. Let's go.
We want to see the beam lit. That's why we got to see a win in Sac so we can
I
want to
see that
in
purple
the playoffs.
Light all night long. Let's see it.
Love it. Mitch, the final matchup here, the 4-5, another great matchup, Phoenix and LA. Suns and Clippers. Kevin Durant and the Phoenix Suns, 45 wins, just barely get that 4 seed to get home court advantage over LA, who had 44 wins, just a game back there. Clippers and Suns. And Mitch, this Suns team, there's a lot of unknowns still, right? We've seen 8-10 games with Chris Paul and KD and D Book and this whole team. There's still a lot that we don't know about this Phoenix squad. But what we do know is that there's a lot of freaking talent to have on an NBA roster. So it's going to be hard for me to pick against Phoenix right now until we see a full playoff series and what they really look like. But against this Clippers team, Clippers are a joke. Clippers are a joke. They're not even a real. They get their own city. Ridiculous. I'm taking Phoenix, Mitch. I'll take Phoenix in 5.
Let me just, before I give my pick, a hypothetical. Let's say Golden State gets the 5 and the Clippers get the 6. Do you take the Kings over the Clippers?
If the matchup was Clippers, Kings? Yeah, I would take the Kings.
Okay.
I would take the Kings.
Just a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Because
I just think the Golden State Warriors is just like an awful draw. Like I would have taken Sacramento over the Lakers. I would have taken, it's just. Yeah,
well, I just wanted to get a gauge for where you felt about them. But yeah, you're right. Phoenix. I mean, they're undefeated with KD in the lineup, with KD, Chris Paul, and Devin Booker in the lineup since he went to Phoenix. Undefeated, have not lost a game. Wow. Phoenix in 4.
Phoenix with the sweep. Love it. I think there's even questions about Paul George playing. Is he super healthy right now? Obviously, that doesn't help LA. Now, Russ has been a good addition for them, and Kawhi is still Kawhi, but
you're right.
That doesn't compete with D Book and DeAndre Ayton and Kevin Durant.
I mean, can you?
Chris Paul.
That 4 is stupid.
That's just.
Dumb. You have KD, you have Chris Paul, you have Devin Booker, and then by the way, we just have one of the best big men in the game too, and DeAndre Ayton. That's just a rebound machine.
Lest you forget.
I mean, that's
crazy.
Incredible.
Crazy. I came across this as I was prepping for the podcast today. I tweeted this out earlier, but in this year, as you may have noticed, as we went over the West, all 5 teams from the Pacific Division made the playoffs this year. Both LA teams, Phoenix, Sacramento, Golden State, all qualified for the playoffs. All 5 teams in the division. It's the first time since the 2014-2015 season that we've had a full division qualify for the NBA playoffs. And in fact, since the expansion of Charlotte and the addition of the Bobcats and the reorganization into the current divisions back in 2004, 2005, we've only seen it 3 times, including this season. It happened in 2014, 2015 with the Southwest Division, and it also happened in 2005, 2006 in the Central Division. So I thought that was pretty surprising.
Yeah. Interesting notes there. I love it. Love that. I love that stuff.
I love quirky stats. I can't help myself.
I mean, you me both, brother. You and me both.
That's how it goes.